Why is it that we'll never get another Beatles, Tupac, or Eminem? Why do most gacha games fade into the void, while just a few dominate the space? The answer might lie in something as simple and as powerful as the bell curve. What similarities do we see when we look at Lil Wayne, Tupac, Eminem, and Michael Jackson, besides the fact that they're all black? And what about when we look at Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, Ananta, and Silver Palace, besides the fact that they're codenamed babies for a slot machine? These are works of art that may or may not have caught an audience, sometimes a small audience, sometimes a massive audience, shaking the very space that they were meant for, to the point of being mainstream in one way or another. I would like to talk about the bell curve, and how I believe that any and all things will be at the mercy of the bell curve. The bell curve, or normal distribution, shows how most things in life cluster around the average. In music, gaming, in sports, in life, the bulk of all effort, talent, and results live in the middle. But on the far right, chronically online people calm down, that's where the legends live, the once in a generation phenomena. Think about it. How many artists try to be the next Eminem? How many gacha games launch every year, hoping to be the next Genshin Impact? The truth is, statistically, most will never make it past the average, and that is okay. It's not about effort, it's about distribution. But what do I mean by distribution? I mean the number of games, the number of skilled developers, or whatever content creator on whatever side debating on whether there is or is no agenda being pushed. I am, however, going to take everything and the hefty middle and the fringes on the ends, meaning that everything mentioned plays a role on the success or failure of these forms of art. Every day something is created, whether made in someone's basement or by a multi-billion-dollar company. We are humans. We are one of the most creative species in the universe. We make art, and at this point we make art about any and all things. But something always happens where either something that seems insignificant rises to astronomical heights, or the opposite, where the hype just doesn't meet the final delivery of said product. What I'm pointing at is that not everything is a 10 out of 10 or flat out 0 out of 10. Most of the time it's just mid, average, or I at its best. Now what makes an outlier? Let's talk about the outliers, these fringe points on the graph and why they are so very important. Outliers like Tupac or the Beatles aren't just skilled, they land at the right moment in history. Their success is a mix of talent, timing, cultural readiness, and sometimes sheer luck. Take Genshin Impact for example. It didn't just drop as a polished game, it launched in 2020, right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now a quick disclaimer, I know I mentioned luck just now, but in this case the pandemic was not a lucky time, and the world went through a lot in that time, and the repercussions of the time are still present today. People were stuck indoors, social interactions were limited, the world was on pause, and suddenly here comes a free, open world game with vibrant visuals, deep lore, and a co-op system, and constant updates to boot. Not gonna lie, even for someone like me, it was very much needed at the time. It wasn't just a game, it was an escape, and a shared escape. A shared experience when the world felt disconnected. That timing, that cultural vacuum, it gave Genshin a huge boost, one that other gacha titles, even great ones, may never be able to replicate. Same story goes with music legends. Being in the right place at the right time amplifies the art. This does not mean that it was not good on its own, only amplified. Now we can argue about how the current progression of Genshin Impact has been and comparing it to other gacha games, but that is not the title of this video, nor the subject. Maybe it's in the title. Same with games. A title like Fate Grand Order or Honkai Star Rail or Impact isn't just well designed, it connects with an audience, rides the right wave, and compounds success over time. These are the far right tail of the curve, the exceptions, not the rule. Now, before you start to walk away believing that there is no way to reach greatness, or if everything is meant for mediocrity, I ask that you wait and listen to this, and let me try to convince you as to why this idea matters. Understanding the bell curve frees us from the illusion that greatness is common. It helps us respect craft, even if it doesn't go viral. It reminds us to value the process, not just the outliers. And ironically, once you stop chasing the legends and start focusing on your own lane, that's when the authentic impact can happen. Maybe not Beatles level, but still meaningful. So, no, there might never be another Beatles, and yes, most gacha games will stay in the middle, but the curve doesn't lie, and every once in a while, something truly special breaks through, and that is what makes this seemingly insignificant looking line on a plane so beautiful and simple. And who knows, maybe the next outlier is already being written, coded, or composed right now, quietly sitting on the edge of the curve.